Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by for your daily Reiki micro session. This is a micro session because it is only 5 minutes long, where a regular session with me does last more like an hour. So, this is just enough to give you a taste or a temptation, just a little bit to let you know if you might be interested in Reiki for yourself or not. So, we'll start with that, and then after that, we'll do 5 minutes of questions where you can ask whatever's on your heart or whatever's on your mind, and I'll bring out my tarot cards and use my psychic abilities to come up with nice, solid answers that'll help you move forward in your life productively. But starting with the Reiki, Reiki is good for all kinds of wonderful things. If there's something in particular that you would like some help with in your life, feel free to go ahead and set the intention for that. For everybody else, I'm setting the intention for whatever will be for your highest and best good. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get this Reiki started. All right, so we're starting Reiki at 20 after the hour. That means we're going to finish up at 25 after the hour. Does anybody here have questions about Reiki or what it is or why we do it or anything at all about Reiki? I'm happy to answer those questions while I send the Reiki out. We've already got people showing up and receiving this Reiki quite a bit in the base chakra, especially also the heart chakra. Base chakra has to do with those things that make us feel secure, whether that's relationships, finances, assets, whatever. Heart chakra has to do with those things that impact our emotions and our perspective around emotions and things that impact them. Thank you for the thumbs up. Whoever did that, I appreciate it. Everybody's being awful quiet today. We have 4 more minutes of Reiki. Any questions about Reiki at all, I'm happy to answer them. Y'all don't be shy. We have a beautiful day here where I am, like 70 degrees outside. A little bit of wind. That's nice. I love hearing the wind through the evergreen needles. Questions about Reiki? Go ahead and put them in the chat if you've got one. Natalie. Aw, thank you, my dear. Glad to see you're here today. How are you doing? If anybody has questions about Reiki, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them for you while we're doing the Reiki. Wow. That is a whole lot of change. How many people are in your new step family that you interact with on a daily basis? I don't remember, unfortunately. Oh, that's a lot. That is a lot. I'm glad whatever I did helped. Was that advice that came up in a reading that helped you? Or was it more coaching type stuff? Oh, very cool. Hello there, Ezra. Hello, Alicia. Welcome, welcome. We have one more minute of Reiki. If you guys have Reiki questions, feel free to throw them up in the chat. Very glad that you're here. Well, that's very cool, Natalie. A lot of times I don't remember what comes up in readings because it's not my information that I'm passing along. It's information as it comes in through my crown and my third eye and then comes out the mouth to you. But it doesn't come through my thought processes at all. So a lot of those I don't remember until we get, like, if we start talking about some of those specifics later, then it might jog it. But usually it's just in and out and gone. It's not anything personal that happens in all my readings. I'm fantastic, Ezra. Thank you for being here. How are you? You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. All right, let me go ahead and wrap up the Reiki. And let's move on to questions. Who has a question for me? Go ahead and pop it into the chat box while I set the timer. I've already cleared the tarot deck for this for today. We're going to be using the Tarot of the Golden Wheel today. Okay, Alicia, you're asking me two questions, honey bunny. Let's bottom line it. Let's bottom line it. Is it a good idea for Alicia to go for the job that is coming up? You're quite welcome. Is it in Alicia's best interest to go for the job that is coming up that's on her mind right now? Excuse me. All of a sudden I have hiccups. Well, it's interesting that you're going back to something. I'm glad that came up in the first question because that sort of shows here. Here's what I think. I think it is in your best interest to go back. Like if you need to interview or whatever, it's in your best interest to go back and go for this job. However, I'm not sure that you're necessarily going to get this job. I feel like it's more of a stepping stone type of situation where something else comes up. Okay. So the reason I say that, we've got the Seven of Swords showing up in reverse. This does talk about going back. Usually in my mind, this is like going back to the scene of a crime, whether it's technically a crime or not, but going back where some shady things happened. So this talks about going back to where some shady things happened. We've got the moon showing up here. There is something going on that you're not aware of currently right now. We've got the Two of Pentacles in reverse. This is things falling through the cracks. So when you've got stuff that you don't even know about going on and you've got things falling through the cracks, I'm not so thrilled about that. And then we have the Page of Cups, which I kind of feel like this is a little bit of a bridge card. I think that there are some positives about if this would work out. So I think that in your mind, you're thinking it would be nice to go back if things worked right. I think that's very conditional. But I also feel like it's a bridge. I think that this also is talking about your next card too, which the Page of Cups talks about the Chariot, which follows it. So the Chariot talks about moving on to something else or something different. And with this Page of Cups right behind it, with it being the bridge, I really think that you're going to find out that you're going to want to move on to something different. I think if you're going for an interview, you may even find this in that interview. If you actually do go back to this job, I think that you're going to find out things are falling through the cracks. There are things going on that, are kind of underneath the surface. There's a rat in the woodpile, but you just can't find it. And then you're going to end up moving on. So I think that it's worthwhile to pursue it, but I think that you should also understand that even though this experience is going to put you on the next step towards something else, um, I think you should have the heads up. It's probably not the most enjoyable, favorable experience. I feel like it is a step up from what's going on now, but I feel like it's gonna catapult you into a situation where you can do something that is much better, actually. Okay. And that was for Alicia. Struggling a little bit with your work. You can always put Reiki towards work as well. Okay. Advice for the workplace. How many toxic people are we talking about, Ezra? While I'm waiting for Ezra, I'm going to do Natalie's question. Is it safe to build a relationship with my stepkid's mother? Best advice for Miss Natalie on building a relationship with the stepkid's mom. She feels pretty edgy and toxic. 2 to 4 is very general when you're asking for advice. If you want advice, Ezra, you got to tell me how many people you want advice about. Um, Natalie. Is it safe to build a relationship with my stepkid's mom? This is really coming up kind of interesting. I want to just pick up a little bit more before I start talking, Natalie. So there's multiple layers to this answer. So Natalie, you've got the emperor and the empress showing up here. Okay. Papa and the mama. All right. So this is the stepkid's mom. This is the papa, the person that you're with now. Okay. We've got bookending these 5 cards. All right, which means there's 3 cards between them, which says a few things. First of all, it says they're not very close at all. They probably have some issues and some trouble having this much space between them on the table. All right. Then we have you showing up. You're showing up right next door to the emperor. Okay. So you're showing up as the magician. No pressure. No pressure here whatsoever. Okay. So you're showing up as the magician. So I'm going to say, seeing you show up as the magician, automatically, I'm going to say, yes, it's a good thing for you to do this. Safe. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be some landmines that are going to be worth trying to avoid stepping on here. But I think with you being the magician, this shows that, you've got this. All right. Now, my next card that shows up is the Ace of Wheels in reverse. You guys don't have a very strong foundation right now. Definitely. In fact, it may be like there's the cavern, like the Grand Canyon between the two of you right now with that Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And this also says, not only does it say that things aren't that great between you, it also says that for you to do this, you would be giving this relationship a second chance, that relationship with the kid's mom. So this tells me that you've already tried to establish a relationship with her that would be healthy for everybody. And it has fallen flat on its face. So now there's this huge cavern. This is the second chance. This is like building the bridge over the Grand Canyon. So you can see why I say it's not easy. It's fraught with difficulty, but worth it. Yes. Can you handle it? Yes. You're the magician here. Okay. And I think that as you're going forward with the Fool in reverse, this just basically, this is my card that says that you did begin something at one point by faith with the Fool right side up. Now we're into another phase of this card as far as I'm concerned. So once you began something by faith, so you tried to make this relationship healthy by faith, okay? Now you've got the Fool in reverse. This is saying continue on. This is continuing on with something that you began by faith before, okay? And so, and then, like I said, we've got her at the very end. You know, you're continuing on by faith with giving this relationship a second chance. So to me, I think this is good. The other thing besides the magician showing up here that tells me that it's good for you to keep working on it, even if it's not easy, is that I got the psychic nudge, a few psychic nudges as I was looking at these cards to start with. First of all, the relationship between the mama and the papa is not so hot, and that's not good for the kids. Even though they're separated, they still should be getting along better than what they are for the kids' sake. Um, I feel like you working on the relationship with her, setbacks and all, actually is going to sort of set the example for these two to start trying to figure out how to work on communicating with each other in a more civil way and handling things in a more grown-up adult way for the kids' sake. So what you're doing is actually going to be an inspiration for them to start behaving a little bit more like grown-ups. Um, and the other thing that I have here is that by you doing this, by you working on this relationship with her, that actually um, increases your value as far as your significant other or your husband or whatever is viewing you. They see you as somebody who is much more of an asset in their life. Like, I know I'm putting it in a cold way. Those feelings aren't cold, but in situations like this, like people look at how you treat their kids, how you treat their ex, and seeing that you're trying to do things. And I get the overall feeling that you're doing this because you want things to be more healthy and more balanced for the kids. That's going to be something that improves his opinion of you and eventually hers, although I don't see that coming in real fast. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Rodney, how are you? How are you, my dear? You're quite welcome, Natalie. And let's see, Ezra, I had started to look at yours, so we're going to look at, since now we've got it narrowed down, there's 2 people rather than 2 to 4. I want to see if there's any advice for those particular 2 people for you interacting with them. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. My timer's already gone off, Rodney, so I'm just wrapping up here. What's going on in your world? By the way, if there's anybody else in the room who still needs a question answered, I do have 1 and 2 question readings available on my website, which is listed in the description box below. It's just www.amista.info. There is no .com. Don't try to put it in there. Amista.info. And you can find out how to get a 1 or 2 question reading from me, or you can find out how to get a live reading from me if you want that. Let's see. Shaker and Needy, best advice for Ezra in interacting with Shaker and Needy at work. Hmm. 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 Okay, so Ezra, here's what I'm seeing on the table. Hello there, ill love. Welcome, welcome. Ezra. So for Shaker, I feel like we've got the Fool and we've got the Six of Wands. And when I'm looking at this, what I'm seeing is Shaker's somebody who acts like a fool all the time, and yet this person still ends up coming out of everything smelling like a rose, on top, the winner. Everybody appreciates him or her. Not sure what that name is exactly, but anyway, I think that this person always ends up, coming out with favor, even though they act half foolish all the time. They're always doing crazy stuff. Now, what was the other one? Needy, which once again, I'm not sure if that's a female or a male. Needy shows up like this with the Two of Cups and the Six of Cups both in reverse. To me, I feel like you really don't like needy because there are some things that happened in the past that leave a bad taste in your mouth. And the feeling may be mutual. I kind of feel like the feeling's mutual. Okay. Um, so, best advice when it comes to these two is for you to be the Queen of Wands. Well, who's the Queen of Wands? She's somebody who's self-sufficient. In other words, you don't want to depend on these people. And she's somebody who is very creative, thinks outside the box, and very productive. So basically, this is pretty much saying you want to do a good job at work on your own. You don't have to have the collaboration of other people. Just go into work, focus on your work, do it, enjoy it, get your creative juices flowing, and just do what you need to do. And the Queen of Wands is somebody who not only is very productive, but she's also very attractive. And in this case, since we're talking about work, this is very attractive to the bosses. They start seeing you as more of an asset because you're outperforming these jokers. Now, what's required to come in and be productive and outperform these jokers? Ignore them. Don't spend a lot of time thinking about them and what they're up to and what they're doing. Who cares? Who cares? You're there to do your thing. You do your thing. Let them be all distracted trying to figure out what you're up to. Who cares? Just focus on your goals, your targets. And I mean, these people are petty. They're petty. Don't pay attention to them. You're wasting your own energy doing that. So that's advice. It's just focus on you, focus on your stuff. Don't worry about them. If you focus on you, you've got this. Okay, I hope that helps you, Ezra. I don't even know if you're still in the room, but I hope that helps you. Let's see. Your crown's creating a lot of mess, huh? Or are you drinking too much beer? Thank you for the thumbs ups, guys. Also, thank you for sharing this video, those of you who feel like you know somebody else who could benefit from it. Oh, no, you're talking about coronavirus, aren't you? See, isn't that interesting that it's called the coronavirus? Because corona actually means crown. So it's the crown virus, but it actually starts in the throat. Why did we call it the coronavirus? I don't get it. Well, you know what you got to do about that, Rodney. You don't need my advice. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and spending some of your precious time with me today. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all the help that you guys give me, all the super chats when y'all can do that, and the views and the comments and the thumbs ups. Guys, have your eyes open. I'm going to be coming up with a new contest here very shortly. I think we're going to start that for May. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. And of course, thank you to those of you booking private readings and private Reiki sessions. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful, thrilling day. And I will see you guys back on the next video if I don't see you here for a private before then. Peace out.